If you're in sales, as I was for many years, you don't really have a choice over the product. You have to assume that your company has produced a good product or service and they have priced it well in a competitive market. So your job is to sell more of it. And this brings us to the great breakthrough of the 21st century. All sales in the 21st century are relationship sales. They're relationship sales, which means that people do not buy the product or service. They buy how they feel about the person selling it. Then the product or service becomes important. So the first job of the sales professional is to take the time to develop a relationship of trust and credibility with the prospect. Sincerely, in sales and in life, credibility is everything. Your trustworthiness, your believability, how much I can trust you, how much confidence I feel in dealing with you is the most important single factor, not only as a salesperson, but as a human being. So you will find that your very best relationships in life are with people with whom you have this perfect trust relationship, your spouse, your best friends, your best customers. You have relationships. I work with people on multi-million-dollar deals whom I've never met on the telephone or by email because we have a trust relationship and we can enter into agreements, make commitments, spend money, and put in hours because we trust each other. There's no problem. So trust between a customer and a salesperson is really important. Can you build trust by asking questions? Not by talking about your company or your service, but by asking really good questions and listening closely to the answers and working to understand your customer. Columbia University did a study some years ago and they found that the average salesperson works only 90 minutes a day. The average salesperson spends all of their time warming up and resting. The average salesperson makes about 2 calls a day, 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, and in between, they're getting ready, making excuses, drinking coffee, eating the paper, checking their email, reading spam, and so on. But they only work 90 minutes a day. They did that first study in 1928, and they've upgraded the study year after year. The latest one was about 2008, and the average salesperson still works 90 minutes a day. So all sales incomes are diluted down to 90 minutes a day. We find that there are only 3 things that you do that pay you your desired hourly rate, and they are prospecting, presenting, and closing the sale, finding new people to talk to, talking to those new people, and getting them to double the amount of time that you spend face to face with customers from this day forward. Use every single bit of intelligence and brilliance in time management, planning, goals, and efficiency to double the amount of face time. Your sales are directly in proportion to the amount of time you spend face to face with qualified prospects. The average salesperson works 90 minutes a day, meaning they are face to face with customers for 90 minutes a day, on average, half an hour below or above. If you want to double your income, spend 180 minutes per day, which is 3 hours out of 8 each day, face to face with customers. By the law of probabilities, you will double your income. I've worked with people with great stories who were making 1 sale out of 10, meaning they were getting rejected 9 out of 10 times. But they kept on, kept on, kept on. When they learned proper sales techniques, they started to make 2 sales out of 10, 3 sales out of 10, 4 sales, 5. One gentleman in my course came 1 year and came back the following year. He was making 9 sales out of every 10 calls. His income went up several $100%. He went from living in a small house to living in a large house. He'd been in sales for about 12 years before he learned how to sell professionally, and his sales exploded because you can't get worse at selling by doing it. You can increase the percentages, but the way you do it is you collect more no's. So your job now is to see how many no's you can collect each day. Just be polite, be friendly, be charming, as you already are, I'm sure, and just collect no's all the time. The more no's you get, the more successful you'll be. There's a difference between marketing and sales, and you know what it is. Imagine that I were to say to you at midday to this group, is anybody here hungry? You raise your hand. All right, that's marketing. I'm interested in your product or service. I'm interested in the product or service generally. But then anybody here would like to save money. But then anybody here would like to save money, make money, lose weight, be happy, pick up girls, you know, whatever it happens to be. Then the second part is now I have a restaurant. Let me tell you why you should come to my restaurant to satisfy your hunger rather than go to the competitors. So those are the two. Marketing is to attract people who raise their hand and are interested in the benefit that your product or service offers. And selling, the conversion, is to get them to buy from you rather than from your competitors. So they are very different functions, and you can't sell if you can't attract interested prospects. I was listening to an audio program last year, and I heard one concept on that audio program about business success that triggered a whole series of ideas of how you could implement that process. It's a very simple idea. It's based on this. 90s of all business success is having a great product to start with. It was just a throwaway line in an interview, and I stopped my car. I stopped the CD and I started thinking about that, and my mind was churning. Just look at all the struggle we work for in business. We try. We start a business. We're working. We're in competition, but 90% of your success is having a great product. A perfect example is the iPod, iPhone, iPad. Every time people use this, what do they say? They say, this is a great product. The car that brought me over here today, Michael, the driver, he's got an iPad, and he said his wife got it for him for Christmas. He said, this is a great product. He said he can't live without it. So I said, how do you measure how successful you are going to be in business? How do you predict your business future? It's very simple. It's the percentage of times that your customers, after using your product or service, say, this is a great product. This is a great service. This is a great company. Because without exception, all successful businesses trigger that response. So you can take every planning and organizing, upgrading your skills, learning, staff, customer service, sales, marketing. Everything comes right down to this. How often people say after consuming your product or service, this is a great product or service. This is a great product. We went to a wonderful Indian restaurant just around the corner from the hotel last night. So we said to the concierge, is there an excellent restaurant around here? He said, what kind of food would you like? Bobby obviously said, how about Indian food? I said, yes, one of the best Indian food restaurants in London is just down on Dr. Foster Road. It's about a 5-minute walk. So we walked down there, we walked in, and we sat down in a beautiful decor, high ceilings, beautiful lighting. We sat down, and the food and the service were outstanding. And what we said is, this is a great restaurant. I mean, we want to come back here. We want to come back here. We want to come back and bring our friends. We want to bring our spouses. We want to tell other people to come here. If you can trigger that reaction in your customers, then your future is guaranteed. No, an important point. No company starts off with a product or service that triggers that reaction. The first product or service may satisfy some people, but now you just improve it. You just continue to improve it until you hit that critical point where people start saying, Jesus, this is a great product. Then you know you've hit it. And every product has to trigger that and nothing. Now, the product has to trigger that and nothing. No, they don't start off that way. You keep improving them and improving them. Improve your service, improve your people, improve the product. If you can do that, this is that one idea that I have. I have generated more than $1 million in new revenues by taking that concept, expanding it like a horizon, and teaching hundreds of business owners how to install this greatness system within their business at every level for planning, organizing, marketing, selling, customer service, visit, manager development, and so on. So now companies will walk out of my process and literally double the size of their business in 30 days. And when the economy is in a recession, their businesses are booming. People say, why? Well, because they've got great products, they've got great people. You see what I mean? Yeah, it's a very one concept like that, but you never know where you're going to find a concept like that. So you've got to be like a radar scanning the horizon, looking for those kinds of reading, listening, talking, asking questions. And every so often, good morning, like the lightning strike in the cartoon, you get this lightning strike. One idea can save you 5 or 10 years of hard work. Sales is the ultimate default job in our society. Nobody goes forward into sales. We fall back into sales when nothing else is working. It's like driving a car and backing up and hitting something. Boom, you get out to see what it is. It's a sales job. And so we say, well, I will give that a try and see what happens. And sometimes your friends say, when are you going to get a real job? Because some people don't believe that sales is a real job. I came from a poor background. My parents never had any money. They were working people. My father was a carpenter. My mother was a nurse. I left school without graduating. I worked at laboring jobs for several years, and then I got into sales when I could no longer find a laboring job, like most people in sales today. And then I started asking a question which changed my life. And the question is, why is it that some people are more successful than others? Why is this? I looked around me and I saw people, and I was 23, 24, typically younger than me, doing better than me because some of them were dumber. And they weren't any smarter than me because some of them were dumber. One of the things I say is, nothing will make you madder than to see somebody who's dumber than you, who's doing better than you, is doing better than you. And you say, how can this idiot be doing so? Well, I began asking this question in selling. I began asking, why is it that some salespeople are more successful than others? And I did something that very few people ever do. I found later, because I went to the best salespeople and I said, how come you're so successful? And they told me what they were doing, and I did it, and I made more sales. So people said, how come you're making so many sales? So I told them, and they did it, and their sales went up. And when I got into business, I asked managers, how do you manage in a business like this? How do you organize it? And they told me, and then they told me, and I did it. So one of the greatest success principles that you'll ever find is to learn from the experts. Learn from the experts. Learn from the people who are already demonstrating the results that you want to get. Read their books, listen to their programs, attend their courses, learn from them and ask them, and they will always tell you. You can save yourself years of hard work by simply learning from people who've already learned it by themselves. However, the 80-20 rule applies. 20% of people who get into sales realize that this is a great opportunity, that if you sell really well, you can earn more than a doctor or a lawyer or even a politician. You can make a wonderful living in selling, and you can fulfill all of your dreams. In the Western world, 5% of millionaires are salespeople who have sold all their lives for another company, but they sold a lot, and they earned a lot, and they invested the money carefully. So it's possible for you to achieve all your dreams in this field if you become good in selling. The key to success in sales, because you're on your own so much of the time, is to hold your own feet to the fire. Prepare thoroughly for every meeting. Go on Google. Do whatever you need to do to find out everything you can about the prospect before you meet them for the first time. Remember, the first impression is lasting, and a customer today can't tell if you're prepared or not within 30 seconds. If you walk in and you say, thank you very much for your time. I had no idea your company had been here for 33 years. You have 270 people and 12 ranches, and your best-selling product is this and that, and it won one quality award last year. How do you know all this stuff? I went to your website and I looked it up. And what do people put on their website? They put the things that they're most proud of. That is, we call this the bragging page. They put things on their ranking page. So you go to their website and you'll learn the things that they are most proud of as a company. And if you feed it back to them and say, look at your website. Wow, that's pretty good material. I see, gee, we can't even get our own people to look at our website, much less outside people. And you know what? Your credibility goes straight up, and their fears and skepticism and negativity goes straight down. There's an inverse relationship between the two. As your credibility goes up, their fear goes down. Now, they start off with a high level of fear and skepticism, but as you begin to build credibility by doing your homework and then by asking good questions to fill in the answers and listening closely to the answers, they start thinking, I'm dealing with a professional. What is the purpose of your business? Now, most people respond by saying the purpose of a business is to make a profit. However, that's not quite correct. A real purpose of your business or any business is to create and keep a customer. If you can create and keep customers in sufficient numbers in a cost-efficient way, the result will be a profit. The very first thing that you have to do when you think of any new business idea is, where am I going to get a customer? How am I going to get someone to pay for my product or service? So what is the most important measure of business success? The answer is customer satisfaction. It means that you create a customer and you keep the customer and you keep the customer because the customer is so happy with what you did for them. Sometimes I ask people which is the most important sale and they say, oh, it's the first sale. I say, not so quick. It's not the first sale. It's the second sale. Why? Because you can get the first sale through discounting, through deceit, through all kinds of techniques and methods, but it's the second sale where the customer tells you, you satisfied me so much, you delivered on your promises so much that I am back here to buy again. So the next question is, what is the key measure of customer satisfaction? And the answer is repeat business. Repeat business is where the customer buys and buys again and brings their friends. So the key measure of business success is the customer buys from you rather than from someone else. Buys from you again and brings their friends. And this brings us to the ultimate question which determines your success or failure in business. The question is this, and you ask this on a regular basis of your customers. Based on your experience with us at this time, would you recommend us to others? Would you tell your friends and your associates, members of your family, to buy from us based on the way that we treated you? On a scale of 1 to 10, and here's what we discovered is people who give you a grade like 9 or 10 will represent 85% of your repeat business and 85% of your repeat business and 85% of your referrals to other people. What you have to do from now on is ask your customers in every way possible. How did we do? Did you like us? Did we take good care of you? How could we do it better? On a scale of 1 to 10, how was our service? And if the customer says, well, it was 6 or 7 or 8, what you do is you say, what would we have to do next time to earn a 10 from you? And then orient everything you do in your business to get 10s as many times as possible from as many customers as possible. And that will guarantee your success. Here's a key way for you to achieve all your sales goals. And it's simple. It's very important to break your sales goals down into the activities necessary to achieve them. You see, you can't control the sales themselves because they can go sideways for 1,000 reasons, but you can control the activities which yield or lead inevitably to those sales by the law of probabilities. So the more precise you are about activities, the more likely it is that you will accomplish your sales and your income goals. So here's an exercise for you to complete in order to break down your goals into the precise activities you have to do to achieve each one of them. Start off with your sales volume and your income goal. How much do you want to earn? How much do you want to sell? How many sales will you have to make in order to achieve that? Work out what you earn per sale and divide that into your earnings goal. For example, if you want to make $75,000 this year at $500 per sale, you'll have to make 100 sales. Now figure out the number of calls you'll have to make. You say, well, I'll have to call on roughly 15 people before I make a sale, so therefore I'll have to make 1,500 calls. Now, here's an important point. Keep track of your call activity every day so that you can measure how well you're doing. So how many presentations will you need to make to close 100 sales? Work it out. Maybe you'll have to make 3 presentations for each sale. So you say, well, I need 300 presentations to make 100 presentations to make 100 sales. Write it down. What about the number of proposals? Well, one of these prospects out of 3 actually buy, so the other 2 need proposals. So I need 200 proposals. So I need 200 proposals. And lastly, daily activities. How many people will I have to call on every day in order to achieve my goals daily, weekly, and monthly? If you break it down like that, then the first thing you do Monday morning at 8 o'clock is you start working on your numbers. Your job is to hit your numbers, and if you hit your numbers every single day, sure as God made little green apples, you're going to hit your numbers every week and every month. You'll have high weeks and low weeks and high months and low months, but the average overall is you'll hit your targets again and again. See, the big mistake we make is we don't get our numbers on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, and then we really pour it on Thursday and Friday. And Friday, we finally work at it for a couple of hours in that crit, and we say, I'll work on it twice as hard next week, and we get further and further behind.